For section 2.3, you will be able to evaluate the positive and negative sections of a graph. The first one, we are not given the graph, so we'll need to graph it. I'm going to make a table. I'm going to start at 0. Negative, parentheses 0, close. Negatives on the outside of the parentheses, squared, minus 8, parentheses 0, minus 12. Enter. Negative 12. I'm going to plug a 1 in. Negative 21. That goes off my graph. I'm going to start over and plug in a negative 1 squared minus 8 times negative 1 minus 12. This was going too big, so now I'm going to go the other direction. Then I place a negative 2. Then I place a negative 3. Negative 4. Negative 5. Here's my repeat. Negative 4 up 4 is my vertex. Then I'm going to go negative 5 is up 3. Negative 3 is up 3. Negative 2, 0. Negative 1 is down 5. 0 is down 12. It won't fit. I'm going to copy over my points on the left so that they match and I can fill in my U shape. My vertex is at negative 4 up 4. My y-intercept does not show up on my graph, but I know it from my table. 0 is down 12, which can also be pulled from my constant for my quadratic. My x-intercepts are at negative 6, 0 and negative 2, 0. My domain goes left forever and right forever. The range is low. My lowest is forever, and my high is a positive 4, and it touches the 4. My axis of symmetry is where it cuts right down the middle, which is at x is negative 4. Where is my graph positive? This is the new section. My graph is positive when it is above the x-axis. It is above the x-axis from negative 6 to negative 2. It does not matter if the graph is going up or down. It just matters that it's above the x-axis. So this is positive values from negative 6 to negative 2. Then, when I look below the graph, I have the two negative sections from negative infinity to negative 6, and there's a gap, and it jumps over to negative 2 to positive infinity. Question B, I need to graph it. I'm gonna build a table. I'm gonna plug in a 0 first. Parentheses 0 squared, there's no negative in front, so I 0 square it. Minus 6 times 0 plus 8 is 8. I'm gonna plug in a 1. 1 is at 3. 2 is at 0. These are all in my graph, so I'm going to keep going. Here is my repeat. My vertex is at 3, down 1. And then I have dots at 2, 4, 1 is up 3, 0 is up 8. My vertex is at 3, down 1. My y-intercept is at 0, up 8. My x-intercepts are at 2, 0, and 4, 0. My domain is left to right. It goes left forever, right forever. Range is low. The lowest it goes is -1, and it goes up forever. Axis of symmetry cuts down the middle at x equals 3. When is my graph positive? This one is positive here and here. So I'm going to have -infinity, positive. So it'll be -infinity until 2. Then there's a gap where it goes below it. Then from 4 to positive infinity. Negative infinity is always on the left, positive infinity is on the right. Then my negative section where it goes below the x-axis is from 2 to 4. 2 to 4 is in the negative section below my graph. Then next on your assignment you will be given a graph and have to find the zeros. Let's see, let's use orange. Okay, these are my zeros. Rather than listing them as a point on this question on your homework, you're going to just make a list. It touches at -4, it touches at -2, and it touches at +1. Then the positive section. I have this section above my graph and this section above my graph. I have 2 pieces. This is the left side. -infinity until -4. Then there's a gap. -2 to 1. Negative section is when it's below the x-axis. Whoops, it's a positive infinity, it's on the right side. So I will say my negative section is from -4 to -2. Then there's a gap, 1, and then because it's the right side, positive infinity is always on the right. Find the zeros. -2, -1, +2. Positive section, where is it above the x-axis? Here it's positive, it's above, and right here, it's above. So positive from -2 to -1. Then there's a gap, and it goes from 2 to infinity. And I know it's positive infinity because my infinity is on the right side. Negative infinity, here's my negative sections. I go from the left forever until it hits -2. Then there's a gap where it's positive. -1 until +2 is where it's cut off and it doesn't go back up. Right, next question is the ACT question. I have x squared minus x minus 2 is greater than 0. I'm going to graph it. I'm going to plug a 0 in. I have 0 squared minus 0 minus 2. Then I'm going to plug a 1 in. Then I'm going to plug a 2 in. Then I'm going to plug a 3 in. Okay, then I'm going to go negatives. So -1 squared minus -1 minus 2. It repeats. So when I plug a -2 in, I know it'll be a 4. My vertex will end up being between these two values. If you really want to find it, you could always plug in 0.5 squared minus 0.5 minus 2. If you really want to find that middle number, you can, but you really don't need to. So when you graph it, zero is down 2, 1 is down 2, 2, 0, -1, 0. It would make a U shape, so that's why the half is down 2.25. It is asking, when is it greater than 0? It is greater than 0 in 2 spots. It would be from 2 to infinity and -infinity to -1. When I look at my inequalities, I have 2 sets, which means I need 2 inequalities where x goes to the left and x is to the right of 2. Real-world application. Pedro went for a very long drive. Models T of D models the temperature in degrees Celsius outside Pedro's car as function of the total distance he drove in kilometers. Read the graph above and identify. So the first pieces I want to identify will be increasing and decreasing. These are from 2.2. Now, these are the ones you're going to get messed up with the most. Then we're going to do positive and negative, so you can see the difference. Those are the 4 we're going to evaluate, and then we'll be good. So, oh, you know what? I'm going to throw in, if you guys know the max and the min, just to see if you know it. This is extra. So, increasing is when my graph is going up. As I graph, my graph is going up until right here, and it stops. That is from 0 to 50. Then my graph starts to drop down. still dropping down until right here at 150. So it decreases from 50 to 150. So it doesn't matter if it's on the top or bottom of the graph, it's the slope. It's going down, that's decreasing. Then it starts to go back up. Oh, there's a weird little section right there. Right here where it levels off. We're gonna say it levels off right at 180, so increasing from 150 to 180. Then it drops back down for just a second. We're gonna say that's 185. Then my graph goes back up, and it's gonna go up off the graph. So I'm gonna say from 185 to infinity as it continues off the graph. So the temperature is increasing, then it decreases, goes below 0 degrees Celsius, and then it comes back up, down, up, as it fluctuates the temperature as he drives. When I do positive, positive is where my graph is above the graph. As soon as it touches right here, it's no longer positive. So positive from 0 to 110. Then I have a negative section where it goes below the x-axis. That would be from 110 to 170. And then my last section right here is positive. So I'm going to write that is also positive from the 170 to infinity. Hopefully that helps. If you're still confused, check out some of the examples on the board, the whiteboard. For the maximum, this is just extra. The maximum is right here at 50, 16, which means 50 kilometers is 16 degrees Celsius. And the minimum is at 150 kilometers. The temperature is at -4 degrees Celsius. Crazy. If you have questions, please email me.